Welcome into the roundtable. I'm Brad Wakai. That is Tyson Gentry. We got to do a little bonus pod today because your man, LeBron James, broke the all-time NBA scoring record last night on February 7th of 2023. And he's now, I can't even believe it, man, has scored the most points in the history of the NBA. It's truly remarkable.
And this record's about to get nuked. Like this thing, it's a really cool moment, and it was awesome because this Kareem record stood forever. And when we were growing up, right after school, you get home, throw on Pardon the Interruption, and it's like this is one of the untouchable records they would always talk about. And LeBron's about to put this thing 3,000. He might finish 4,000 points above everybody else. And then when you factor in his playoff points, it's insane. And okay, he shot more free throws. He shot more threes. He's played 120 less games. He's not a scorer. He just happens to be the most efficient at putting a ball in a hoop pretty much has ever played the game. And so I don't really know what that makes him. I think that the not a scorer thing is that dead? Can we finally just be like, all right, he's averaging 27 and he's averaging 30 now at 38 years old. What do you call that?
Well, I call it greatness first and foremost. And you and I have had our battles and our disagreements about LeBron James. And I've come around to the fact that I think what I wanted people to do with Tom Brady, and people are just relentlessly hating on him. I'm like, yo, well, you just got to appreciate like what you're witnessing. And that's where I've come with LeBron James. And I still, I'm not the biggest LeBron fan. Like I'll never probably be like the biggest LeBron James fan, but you can't fucking disagree with this dude is just one of the greatest players that's ever graced the earth, that's ever laced him up and played basketball. And I was thinking about this. I was doing some reflecting last night, just about we got to watch his entire career, Tyson.
Yep.
Like, so I was born in 96. You were born in 96. We legitimately got to see him come in the NBA. Yeah, like when he was drafted, we were 7. Like you can remember that. Like I remember the Lakers championships with Kobe and Shaq in 2000s, and I was fucking in early 2000s. I was 5 years old. I remember LeBron coming in. It was like this whole thing. We got to witness this guy become, with all these expectations, chosen one tattooed on his back, nicknamed the King. He's supposed to be the next one, the NBA's next great. And through all of that, he exceeded those expectations. And that's what I think is truly the most remarkable thing about LeBron James.
And I think that's the most remarkable thing about the hate that he gets is like, talk about moving the goalposts. It's like, okay, he can't do this. And then when he does it, people are like, well, Jordan did it better. He can't do this. And then he does it. And then we keep having these conversations where nobody stopped once to think like, hey, holy shit, this guy's better at all of these things that are required on a basketball court than just about anybody to ever live. Bob Costas said when LeBron was 18 that if he wasn't a first ballot unanimous Hall of Famer, he'd be a bust. And he wasn't lying. That was the hype. They sold season tickets to St. Vincent St. Mary's when he was in high school. How insane is that? They had season ticket holders to watch a high school basketball team. And then all he does is come in and from Jump Street essentially be one of the 10, was he probably top 15, top 20 his rookie year. He's an all-star. And then from then on, it was like, is he the best player in the league? And then it was no question. And he's 38 years old now, and he can't drag a pile of garbage to the top of the heap like he used to be able to. But he's putting up numbers just the same. Effort isn't there quite as much, but who cares about that right now? It's about him breaking the record. And to touch on his longevity, do you remember Scholastic Book Fairs?
Of course.
I remember going and getting I was pumped. I found a LeBron James poster because you never bought the books. You wanted the Big Bundy eraser and a poster or whatever. And I got that when I was 7. And I've just watched the rest of his career. He's still going strong. Seems like I have 2 more years of this. Like this dude he's one of a kind. Truly one of a kind.
Truly is. And it's hard to put into words, really, everything that LeBron James has accomplished or that really encompasses LeBron and it's himself, because he went through a bunch of ups and downs, I think, throughout his career, right? Like he came in super hyped up. You're like, man, this kid is really good. Like he's about as legit as we thought he could be coming into the league, like you said. Then he takes his team to the finals and he gets swept. And then it was, okay, here come the big bad Celtics. And then it just took a couple years for him to dispel them. The Pistons back in the day with the Billups team, those teams, they were tough. Then he dispels those guys with that insane
23
consecutive
straight
points scored. And it was just like he just kept checking off boxes, and then left Cleveland. That's when everybody started hating him because of the way he left, the super team he was building. And then everybody was super happy when he lost. I know I was. When he lost that first championship to the Mavericks. That was one of the best. And then probably should have lost the first one to the Spurs. The Ray Allen thing, and then there was questions about his legacy. And then, leaving Miami, it didn't really end well there. Pat Riley's one of the godfathers of the NBA, and that didn't end too well on those terms between those two. Then he goes to Cleveland, and it's this coming home thing. And not only does he actually deliver on his promise, Tyson, he did it in a way where he's facing the most improbable odds that we've seen in NBA Finals history, and he pulled it off. It's crazy.
And look, it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but if anybody on the Cavaliers, and it's tough to pile the hate on J.R. Smith for forgetting they had a timeout. That was the best individual game I think I've ever watched. With the stakes that high, I think he had 48 in regulation, triple double against the best team of all time, the Golden State Warriors, Kevin Durant edition, the Golden State Warriors 2.0. If they win game one there, like that to me was his best game, and it comes in a loss. And it's just kind of like, that's his career. Like he does all these crazy things, things that should be impossible, things that people should appreciate. And then it just turns into like he lost, and it's really through no fault of his own. The biggest issue I've had with the like LeBron's a choker, blah, blah, blah stuff. Yeah, the 2011 series was bad, but if he wasn't so good immediately, those teams would have had to do more to build around him, and then he might have been able to actually win a title or two. His first stint in Cleveland, he just said like, hey, hop on my back. And all of a sudden we know Boobie Gibson, right? We know all these guys' names that we've never heard before. The dude, and he's still doing it, man. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and just the longevity of it all, it's just so impressive. Like, how old he is right now in terms of NBA years, and just like, I'm just going to go out and score 38 tonight and break a record because everybody's here. Like all the celebs, all his friends, his
Did
family.
You see at halftime when he was talking to his kids, he's like, I need 16, 8 a quarter.
Yeah.
And then Bronny said, go get it. And he said, all right, I go get it. And then he just goes, puts 20 up in the third quarter. Like he's still at that level where he can just decide, I'm going to score 16 points this quarter. And the Thunder suck. And as an aside, I guess we both are in agreement this Thunder team is super fun.
Yeah, I love them.
And even this game, this comes in a loss, right? It's just like the dude,
because it's like
can't win for losing, or can't lose for whatever the saying is. Funny to watch him and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar like blatantly not fuck with each other on the basketball court. Fun to watch LeBron drop the F-bomb, which people were upset with, which was funny because if Kobe did it, then people were like, oh my God, that's so classic Kobe. Or if Mike said it. And then when LeBron does it, it's like, hold yourself to a higher standard.
Right. Yeah. And that's one of the things too like I said, I'm not the biggest LeBron fan, but that always does strike me as funny. It's like, come on, like really? Because we hear Michael cuss like literally all the time. Like in that documentary, Last Dance, when he's like cussing everybody out, we're like, man, Mike's intense, man. Whoa, we love it. LeBron can't even say that. And like when he's overcome with emotion,
like, they're making fun of him for crying. I mean, and he's going to close in on the all-time points record for all of basketball, which I think. Who has it? It's a Brazilian guy, but he played all Oscar something. He played like all club games.
Right.
And so like the dude is unreal. Whatever your definition of greatness is, he meets it, whether you want to admit it or not. You don't have to think he's the best basketball player of all time, but there is no debate. He has scored the most points in the history of the NBA, and he's done it in his way.
Absolutely. And that we're not going to discuss, is he the best of all time? That's not really what we do. Now we can have these discussions, which we have had in the past, but that's not what this time is about. It's about reflecting, quite honestly, on just what a remarkable career that we got to witness and that we're still witnessing, which is LeBron James, and he's going to rewrite the history books. It's unbelievable to actually say that we got to watch this entire journey, Tyson. Like it's crazy.
And if you're in sports media and you use this as an excuse to have the Jordan LeBron debate, you're a bum.
Oh, they're going to do
You're
it,
a
dude. Of course,
bum.
like the
You're a
Nick Wrights,
scrub.
the Skip Baylesses, like
You're a scrub.
it's
Find
fodder
something else to
and
talk
bullshit.
about. You don't have anything else to talk about. Nobody cares about anything else you talk about because you're not interesting. Because you don't watch the games. Because you don't have actual analysis to put forward. So then you have to beat a dead horse, man. And this thing is, we've been having the same debate since 2010. At what point do we just go, wow, so it's been 12 years we've been talking about this. We should move on.
Right. There are two best basketball players that ever graced this earth, LeBron James and Michael Jordan. However you put them, one or two, that's up to you. But there's no debate now. I think those are the two best that's ever lived.
You just pissed off our 85-year-old listeners for sure.
100%.
You never watched Bob Pettit, dude.
No, I didn't. You're right. Yeah, that's my bad. Sorry. Okay, we had to jump on. I know it's Super Bowl week, but LeBron with an incredible moment. We had to discuss him breaking the all-time scoring record. If you are ready for the Super Bowl, we did a podcast earlier in the week on the exotic plays, and we just did one late in the week discussing all the player props that we're getting into and who we think is going to win the big game. Spoiler alert, we think it's the team from Philly, but go check it out. We appreciate you watching. We'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.